This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, I'm Sabrina Brown. Thank you for joining us. Topping the news tonight, a major player in Grand Bahamas tourism mix is facing uncertainty. And tonight, a local spokesperson is explaining the position of the cruise line that many on the island depend on to make a living. Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line began service to Grand Bahama in 2010 as Bahamas Celebration and generated significant tourism traffic over the years, bringing some 1.6 million passengers to Grand Bahama, and was responsible for 700,000 room nights on the island. In October 2014, the ship incurred significant water damage to the main engines while in the Freeport harbor. The damage was beyond repair and resulted in the company acquiring a 50% larger and more modern ship called the Grand Celebration under a new agreement with the Bahamas and resort partners, including the Grand Bahama Tourism Board. During the last 2 years, the Celebration brought some 500,000 passengers to Grand Bahama. The recent threat of the Zika virus in Florida and Hurricane Matthew posed major challenges for the cruise line, and officials believe a restructuring program was inevitable to grow its business to Grand Bahama. But the company is facing obstacles in its efforts to return to the island. Local agent for the Celebration, James Turner.
In connection with this restructuring, the company requested that the Ministry of Tourism simply extend the existing rebate program in place by an additional 2 years. Under this program, the ministry contributes a small percentage of the income brought to the island by the vessel's operation back to the company to be used in connection with advertising expenses to bring future tourism business. Unfortunately, the government has been extremely unresponsive to the request for an extension, and the extension delay has jeopardized the restructuring plans.
Turner says as a result of this, the cruise line is considering pulling out of Grand Bahama.
The company has notified vendors that the mid-January return to Grand Bahama will now be only temporary, as the company is aggressively exploring other itinerary options such as Cuba and Mexico.
He says this situation puts the island in an even more difficult position.
You would know that this vessel is very important to Grand Bahama, so we're all hoping that something can be done, because given what's going on in our community as an individual that lives there, obviously we are all concerned about this.
It is an issue that has angered some vendors in Port Lucaya. It is the closure of access at the beach in Lucaya. Today, tourism officials addressed the issue and announced a resolution as well. Italia Hall has the details.
Following the passage of Hurricane Matthew in October, the Ministry of Tourism advised the public that damage from the storm forced the closure of the access path to the Lucayan beach. For weeks now, members of the public have not been able to gain access to the beach, fueling great controversy with vendors in the area. Coordinator of the Product Development Department in the Ministry of Tourism, Elaine Smith, says the beach was closed for safety reasons.
In the interim, guests were offered beach experiences and on all beaches that were accessible and in good condition, including Tino Beach, Fortune Beach, Banana Bay, Gold Rock Beach at Lucayan National Park.
Smith then announced that the beach access has been reinstated for residents and tourists alike. She thanked all industry partners who cooperated with the ministry during the closure.
It continues to ask that persons using this area to be aware that there is ongoing work taking place along the beach as homeowners make repairs to their properties. We will erect appropriate signage relating to this and encourage residents and visitors to exercise caution and care when using this beach.
Transportation Director Clement Pinder of the Grand Bahama Taxi Union says the reopening of the beach access is great news for those who work in the transportation sector.
We are happy to know that it's back open again, especially for the drivers and the vendors, the jet skis operators, the operators, and everyone that is in touch with tourism. We are happy to know it's open again because it's a big dumping in the tourism industry.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Italia. The Free National Movement last evening ratified architect and Olympian Iram Lewis as the F&M candidate for Central Grand Bahama in the upcoming elections. Lewis, who also serves as the president of the Grand Bahama Amateur Athletic Association, vice president of the B3As and BOC, says he is humbled and honored to serve his country with integrity and encouraged all supporters and Bahamians to register to vote. In other news, 20 Cubans found at sea and brought to Grand Bahama. The migrants telling officials that they left Cuba on Monday in a motorized rustic vessel and were intercepted by the U.S. Coast Guard near the Kisal Bank. The 19 males and 1 female are currently being processed by the Department of Immigration. This is the second group of Cuban migrants handed over to immigration officials this week. The first 27 migrants were flown to New Providence yesterday to await repatriation. Meanwhile, a Grand Bahama man living in New York was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison on Tuesday for cyber hacking. 23-year-old Alonzo Knowles was arrested in December of 2015 for criminal copyright infringement of scripts of movies and television shows that had not been aired. Court records state that Knowles illegally accessed the personal email accounts of numerous individuals in the entertainment, sports, and media industries and was able to obtain copyrighted and confidential documents. Knowles was arrested while attempting to sell the information. Stay with us, there's more news after this.